They don't say quite that there, but.
I mean, is that leading her way right now?
Pull up,
We don't have to have no.
pulled up.
Morning, Judge. What? I went back to
Oh, that's fine. You're good.
I got some more in there.
I got some.
I
Thank you.
always tell him I don't know.
That's awesome.
Operator.
He's going in hot, right?
Oh, you gonna run me back up on the phone
I
now?
want to know who that guy is in the article in the paper. I've never met him. Who? That Fiscal guy. Got it right with this picture.
That's what I said yesterday.
You don't, hey, he's not that far up the totem pole, is he?
There you go. I like it.
Morning, Chief. I hadn't checked. You know, one thing, that the cook's got a hole in it. That's what I'm saying. Push that lid down.
No, it's not.
Well, Larry wants to.
Oh, he can't see it.
Who is that talking?
Let's strategically put that so like I brought it. What's that?
There you go. Oh,
Just like that paper, man.
That's gonna be-
Just exactly like that paper.
Yeah, what do you like this? The reason why it's doing that.
it's all right, leave it alone.
Are you okay, sir? with that?
Yeah, leave
Hey,
it
can,
alone.
let me ask you this. Can it just slide down?
Yeah, it sure can.
Yeah.
That's why we can- that's why
That's
we-
fine, it's fine.
We've seen Larry for 36 years. We know what he looks like.
Working on 37.
38.
37. You had a 5-year.
Think about that. I said out there.
This term, give me 38, won't
This will give you 37.
End of this year, you'll have to.
You've had 9 4-years. You've had 8 4-years and 1 5-year.
Bring it on.
Good morning, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here this morning. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, call the roll, please.
Master Coles?
Here.
Master Berger?
Here.
Master Tudor?
Here.
Master Barkin?
Present.
Judge Taylor?
Here, at this time, I'd like to invite Master John Tudor to lead us in a word of prayer, please.
Let's pray, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we give you thanks. We thank you for the opportunity to come and meet and discuss the county government, Lord. We pray that all their decisions will be based on your guidelines, Lord. We pray that you'll be with the victims that are suffering from the snowstorm last night, yesterday. Be with the ones that still don't have electric, Lord. Please help them get power restored soon. Be with their health and their safety. Be with all of our officials who are out on the roads and taking care of our county. Just, dear Lord, watch over us, forgive us where we fail you. We ask in your precious name. Amen.
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 Tom, if you will, lead us in the pledge, please.
Stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, guys. Treasurer's report will be at our next meeting. First order of business today is the second reading of ordinance 1803. Minutes. Guys, y'all had a chance to look over the minutes from the previous meeting.
I move
This time I need a motion and a second.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Skipped right over it, guys, sorry. We have a motion and a second. No more discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Backus?
Yes.
Judge State?
Yes. Start over. First order of business today is second reading of ordinance 1803. It's the admin code. It's an amendment, I'm sorry, to the Madison County Administrative Code. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning. So yes, there hasn't been any corrections to it besides obviously the very last date or the date on the document, which would be today's date since we did not bring this forth the last fiscal court meeting. But other than that, there hasn't been any changes for the inclement weather, the bid process, and then the small purchase procedures as well. But that's it. The same as previous.
Guys, I know we went over this a couple courts ago. Does anybody have any questions? Do we need a refresher? Or everybody good?
Rachel, because of the weather, did you see any of the issues that had been changed on the code coming into effect because of the inclement weather?
Well, after the very first storm that we had this year, that's when we sat down and was like, okay, let's make something that's a lot more ground. So this was just more of our practice that we turned into policy for it. So for this past snow, there wasn't anything else that came up that needed to be addressed for this one.
All right. That's all.
Guys, if y'all approve second reading of ordinance 1803 to amend the Madison County Administrative Code, I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
No discussion, call the roll.
Master Backus?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge State?
Yes. Next is second reading of ordinance 1804. This is a land use change for Jack and Amanda Markham. 514 Igo Road, UC7 Urban Corridor Agriculture to UC1 Urban Corridor Single Family Residential for a 43-acre tract. An ordinance of the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, approving the zone change of 514 Igo Road, Richmond, Kentucky, and authorizing the amendment of the official zoning map of Madison County, Kentucky. Whereas the hereinafter described land is located in Madison County, Kentucky, and whereas the Madison County Planning Commission held a public hearing on Tuesday, February the 20th, 2018, to consider a land use change request application from UC7 Agricultural to UC1 Single Family Residential. The applicant's request stated that their justification for the proposed change being that the proposed land use map amendment is in agreement with the comprehensive plan because it promotes development in the urban corridor and is an appropriate use for this property. A finding of fact was made that the property is located within the urban corridor and that the proposed land use map amendment is in agreement with the comprehensive plan of Madison County. Whereas the Madison County Planning Commission, upon hearing testimony, made a motion with unanimous consent to recommend the Madison County Fiscal Court to approve the land use change request from UC7 Agriculture to UC1 Single Family Residential. So do I have a motion and a second to approve second reading of ordinance 1804, land use change from UC7 Urban Corridor Agriculture to UC1 Urban Corridor Single Family Residential?
So moved.
Second.
Do we have discussion? Yeah, you will. Yeah.
Were there, this is in your area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have comments from anybody, questions,
No.
phone calls?
I haven't had a call or anything, and I don't have a problem with the land zone change. As I've told the judge and in the last court meeting, my concern is that we meet all the regulations to develop this property. I don't see nothing wrong with it being residential. It's in the area for residential. We do have a lot of traffic already in that area, and we need to worry about the road situation. You gotta be taken care of. It's close to the interstate, though. You're not traveling that much from that subdivision, but the other traffic that comes back. But overall, I don't see a problem with the zone change.
The biggest concern that I see with it is water retention, So we make sure we don't flood no more.
Yeah.
Because that's just an open field now, but when you get homes in there,
Yeah.
it'll be a different story, and I'm sure they'll address that.
Right, and all that stuff is checked out during the site development plan and all that process through a planning commission. This, it doesn't really take into effect the zone change, Yeah. At this time, we have public comment. Sure, if you will. If you'll come up to the podium, state your name, your address, and
My name is Thomas Everman. I live adjacent to the farm next to the Gladys Plummer property, which is being developed. I've got some concerns, maybe not, you know, like you said, the water runoff, Simpson Lane floods anyway. If you've been down there during a storm, the water goes underwater anyway. So I'm concerned with the water runoff. Retention plans are as good as what they are. I've designed them, I've inspected them. They get clogged up with leaves, the pipes get clogged up, they fill up, they flow over. Is there gonna be a homeowners association to maintain these water retention plans? Because, okay, they're good for the first year or so, but after leaves and everything stops the pipes up, who's responsible for checking the retention basins, and does it get inspected yearly, or, I mean, is that a legitimate question?
It is. I don't know if it necessarily relates to what this court's actions are and duties are for the actual zone change. You know, all that is engineered. That's all part of the planning and zoning process, and the site development approval is having engineers that do all those calculations of rooftops, of blacktop, of concrete driveways, so that they know the amount of volume of water that needs to be retained or detained in that detention pond. You know, that's part of the stormwater plan of the 100-year floods.
Right.
From a standpoint of, do I know right now what our regs are as from a maintenance standpoint? I don't. That would be a question.
I do. I have
Okay.
inspected them.
But do you know what Madison counties are?
I don't know what Madison.
Right, yeah, so I don't either. I know what other areas, do.
Yeah.
You know, I know in the city of Richmond, it's the responsibility of the landowner that detention pond falls inside of. I don't know what our counties' regs are.
I don't either. I guess that's just what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and we can find that out for you. And you know, you have the opportunity to go to a planning and zoning meeting during the site development plan as well.
Okay, so there's another hearing after this one?
It will not come back to us as a fiscal court, but it'll go to the Planning and Zoning Commission of where it started.
Okay.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I've just been involved with that, and I know they're good for a while, but if they're not maintained,
Right. And part of the maintenance in them too is how they're designed as well. As far as being able to mow them, and you know, when the banks and stuff are so steep on them that you can't mow them, then a lot of times they get neglected because they are hard to maintain. So if it's designed in a way that they are easier to maintain, I think they last a lot longer, and there's less likely for pipes to get stopped up and that kind of thing.
Okay. Another, has there been any area impact studies of like upgraded utilities, traffic flow problems? I mean, we've got a problem at Love's Truck Stop now. Okay, you've got these houses being built. You've got Allen Company, you've got whatever it is across the road where the flea market is. It looks like a atomic bomb went off. You know, have you ever driven by there and looked? It's pretty ugly. Then you got the new BP station over there. So I don't want another Love's Truck Stop problem at this intersection. I would like to have a area impact study to see what problems this is gonna cause. I don't know, I mean, I've been building in different counties in the state, and a lot of counties require an area impact study and what kind of problems it'll cause. I mean, I don't know if Madison County does that, but it might be a good thing to bring up in the future. Okay, another thing, a problem I see, and there needs to be some speed limit postings or something on that road, because I have to cross Igo Road to get to my mailbox. And if you take a bunch of more traffic in that area, I mean, it's like taking your life in your own hands, because people come over that hill going 55 miles an hour, and it's like, you know, it's like, oh, I about got run over 2 or 3 times just getting my mail, so.
We could ask the state to do something, but it's a state road.
I know, I understand that.
Take road.
Well, is it a state road?
Yes, it is, to the bottom of the hill.
To the bottom of the hill, that's what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And one thing too, as far as the, you know, you never can say never, but the majority of the potential residents that are gonna live in that neighborhood and where the entrance is gonna be, would never impact your driveway. I mean,
Right.
only if they turn left.
Right.
And the majority of those are gonna get to the interstate, the
Right.
majority of the time before,
And I guess you know, I'm just like a normal concerned neighbor. I really don't like the fact that I'm gonna look out my front door and see 30 to 40 houses. So I just wondering if there's some kind of a buffer, leave some existing trees. I mean, I've done grading, I've built around subdivisions, and I've had to build berms, screening plans, you know, just something to kind of block the view. You know,
Right.
leave some existing trees in the fences, just for aesthetics, you know.
and I know that's things that the planning and zoning board, they look at. I mean, there are things, from being in the development and building business myself, you know, I can't imagine, I'm sure there's already a tree line on the property line that's already grown up and established.
Right.
And from a developer standpoint, you're not gonna go in there and grub all those trees, because there's expense in that when it
Right.
doesn't really benefit you in any way.
Right.
But all those are questions that you could bring up at the planning commission when it's through the site development plan, just to raise those concerns at that time as well.
It's a different meeting, again.
Yep, so when it,
I don't understand the process.
so the process is they can't approve a site development plan of the subdivision until it's in the proper zoning. So the first step is the zone change.
Right.
And the zone change can only be granted by the fiscal court, and that's where we're here today for the second reading. So once they get that zone change, then I'm assuming that the developer will then submit a site development plan. They'll go through work sessions, and then they'll have a business session for the approval. And during that, the Planning and Zoning Board will recommend and want to make changes if it doesn't suit what our comprehensive plan and what our regs are. And so at that time, there's also time for public comment. So you have approval of the zone change, and then you have approval of site development plan. Once it leaves us from the zone change today, it does not come back to us.
Okay.
That's the authority of the Planning and Zoning Board.
So there'll be another meeting for that.
Yeah, and you can contact our Planning and Zoning office. Actually, Marty's, I think, here today. But our Planning and Zoning meetings are on the first Tuesday of every month, and that's the work session. And the third Tuesday of every month is the business session.
So is that agenda posted
It is,
on the website?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
And, you know, we can, the phone number, if you want to write it down to the codes office, is 624-4780. They'll be more than glad to keep you in the loop of when those meetings are. They are all public meetings, 624-4780.
Okay, thanks. So I guess that's my concerns, and I don't know, probably, maybe it shouldn't have been heard at this meeting, I don't know.
Well, it's okay. I mean, our courts are open to, I mean, we want to hear your concerns, and we appreciate you coming in.
Okay.
So, all
All right,
right.
thanks.
Thank you.
Not only that, Judge, your concerns are very valid. You should definitely go to one of those meetings when they have them and get the opportunity to speak at those. You know, and it's a good thing that folks are willing to come even to this court and address something like that, because most people have no idea what the process is, just to be honest with you. So thank you for coming.
Yep. And any of your neighbors, I mean, this just goes to any citizens. I mean, our office is open, in my office. I mean, we'll guide you through our process and make sure, anytime that you're, I mean, you don't have to wait till this meeting to talk to us, so feel free to call our office at any time, and we'll guide you through our processes so that you are informed, and that we're informed of your concerns, so we appreciate you being here.
And I'm sure Mr. Markham wants to be a good neighbor. He's going to try to work with you all the ways that he can, but, you know, he has this basic standards and that he has to go by also, but go to those planning and zoning meetings and...
I didn't know if that's going to be a public thing or
It will be. I mean, there'll be plans and everything at the planning and zoning meeting. And so, obviously, these are 1 acre tracts.
is there going to be any northern Madison County sewer?
I mean, eventually, but right now, it's not on that side of the interstate.
I know at one time there was a plan on that.
It's on the other side.
It's on the other side of the interstate, but it hasn't come across yet, so, yeah. Maybe one of these days. It's down on the other end of Simpson, though, at exit 95, up like where Walnut Grove is, on closer to like the Love's Truck Stop end. Yep, yep. Thank you all. Appreciate you being here. So at this time, we have a motion.
Just before you vote, just want to make sure that the record's clear that you're adopting the findings of fact and recommendations of planning and zoning.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, and that was read in the
Okay.
ordinance. Yep, the finding of facts was read in the ordinance. Yes? If there is, yeah, absolutely. If it's not saying the same, yeah, same things, absolutely, sure.
My name is Jack Yohe, and I live...
Say that again, I'm sorry?
It's Jack Yohe, Y-O-H-E.
Uh-huh.
I live just down the street from this, maybe a mile and a half.
Mm-hmm.
My only concern, and I'll echo some of his concerns, is I'm just concerned that all the rules are followed on this, and I think the court and the commissions are aware of what the rules are, and you have a process and intend to follow that. But as I look around that plot that we're talking about, the development on, it appears to me there's a wetlands to the kind of the northeast of that, and I don't know if that's on this property, but I want to make sure that that wetlands is retained and that the rules are followed on that. And also with respect to the water, you know, all this water eventually ends up in the Kentucky River. I mean, it's close enough that everything flows downhill and ends up in the river. And just making sure that we're maintaining the water quality as best we can in the river, because we have enough problems with the Kentucky River and pollution. And, you know, we do have a wildlife sanctuary right there very close for the blue herons, one of 2 in the state of Kentucky, and we do have to protect that. That's my concern, is that just we're taking every precaution to follow the rules and follow the expectations of the wildlife, the natural resources, and then getting into the highways and the concern there about the amount of traffic that this has potential to cause. So that's my only concern. I'm not looking for any answers from this board. I'm not looking for any responses. Just wanted to state my concern for those things and make sure those bases are covered.
Yep. Appreciate it. Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, at this time, we have a motion and a second.
I have one more question.
All right.
Marty, were you at the planning and zoning meeting where this was? Yes, sir. Where they went over that? Was any of those issues talked about or at all?
Marty, if you will, come up to the podium, please.
Yes, sir, they were brought up, but also this was a zone change conversation, not a subdivision conversation, so that, you know, we had to put it in the right perspective.
Yes, sir.
Just like you are in this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Tom. All right, at this time, we have a motion and a second. If no more discussion, call the roll, please.
Mr. Coles?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Judge Sutton?
Yes. Thanks, guys. Appreciate all the discussion. Next is Madison County Clerk. I want to talk about election equipment.
I'm used to that. Nobody wants to talk about elections unless it's election day. Well, good morning.
Right.
I'll catch you up on where we are and why we got this equipment here, and then I'll let the representative from ES&S kind of run through the equipment and answer some questions. But we started an RFP process last month. That process consisted of sending a proposal, asking for proposals for election equipment, the requirements for that election equipment. We got 2 proposals back, one from Harp Elections, who is our current vendor, and one from ES&S, which is the equipment's here today. There was a panel convened of myself, Reagan, 3 of my election staff, and the Democratic board member from the Board of Elections, and the Republican board member from the Board of Elections. This, through a scoring process, this is the equipment that was selected, and I won't go into detail, but it wasn't even close between the 2 proposals. This,
When you say it wasn't even close, are you talking about material or money-wise?
both. Money was, cost was one of the things that was scored in the proposal.
Okay, thank you.
One of 5 categories. And what we're going to do today is go over, I wanted you to be able to see this equipment. We'll go over the equipment. You've got the pricing in front of you. The only thing I want to add to that pricing, my dad always said that your family wants it, or your friends want wholesale and your family wants wholesale on credit. And I think we're getting a better deal than wholesale on credit here today. If you look through that proposal, there's a large discount line in there. ES&S is eager to establish a foundation here in the state of Kentucky. They have Jefferson County now, and they have some older equipment in eastern Kentucky, but they're really excited to have their equipment here in Madison County. Also, that's not on that proposal that we verified this morning is that ES&S is willing to defer payment until the next fiscal year. So that means they're going to deliver, set up, put all their costs on hold, the reimbursement on hold until the fiscal year comes to the fiscal court can actually put it in their budget and help us do it the easy way to get it paid for. And I'll kind of run through some of the points, and you guys stop me anytime you've got any questions or anything. So what we're going to do today is I'm just going to show you the equipment. We'll have basically a week. You guys can come in, talk to me. The equipment will be in the office all week. And then if you guys are comfortable, we'll go forward with Glenna, the judge, and county attorney, and formalize that contract, and I'll bring a contract back next court meeting. And the reason I'm doing it this way is if there's no intention of spending this money, then there's no intention of putting the work into really hammering out all the details on the contract. And I'll turn it over now to Chris from ES&S, and we'll run through a demo of the equipment.
Are you gentlemen all right if I stand up here and speak in front of the equipment?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Turn your mic around there just so it picks it up if you can.
My name's Chris Curl, and I'm with Election Systems and Software. We're based out of Omaha, Nebraska. We're the largest election company in the world. We've been in business since 1979, and all we do from A to Z is elections. With that being said, the two pieces of equipment I'm going to show you folks today is our Express Vote marking device and our DS200 tabulating device. There are currently 45,000 of these in the field right now, and 60% of the votes in the United States get cast through a DS200 right now. So it's pretty large. I think the easiest way for me to talk about this is to kind of run everyone through this, and there's two types of ballots you'll use. The ballot, which is what you're familiar with, is what we call a name on ballot. And we also have this piece of thermal paper that we use as a ballot for the express vote. There's some advantages to this. One being the county pays a lot less for this. Typically, on average, this costs about 25 cents a ballot. And after the election's over, if Kenny doesn't use all of his ballots, he has to shred these because you can't reuse them. While with the express vote blank thermal paper ballot, they're blank, they can be reused for further elections, saving the county some costs there. And these only cost around 9 cents a piece. So there's some cost savings down the line for the county. I'll demonstrate this equipment for you. The first thing I'm going to demonstrate is our express vote marking device. The best way to look at this piece of equipment is, this is a 19-pound pencil. And it's real important to think of it in those terms because it doesn't actually count anything. This is just simply marking a ballot. So the election judge will come over, insert the ballot. Right now you don't have poll books, but if Kentucky does adopt poll books, it'll get even better because you'll have a scanner sitting here and the election judge will walk over, scan a little barcode, put the ballot in, and that voter's ballot style will come up automatically without having to worry about any human error. But in this case, right now we'll do it manually, pick the ballot style, and the voter can go through with the touch screen here and vote their selections. I'll do this one quickly so I can show you what it looks like when it comes out before we actually cast it. Now keep in mind this is a 19-pound pencil, so like I said, this isn't counting anything. This is simply marking a ballot. We feel like we have the best of both worlds here. This is a cross between electronic voting and then the traditional voting that you're used to, because we know that voters, at the end of the day, want to be able to see their votes before they cast them. And in this case, as a voter, I have this vote in my hand. I can walk over and say, yep, that's what I wanted. And now I have the opportunity in the DS200 over here to cast my ballot. That ballot's casted. If I'm a voter that chooses the traditional ballot, this machine has some benefits as well. So this machine will stop a voter if they overvote. So I'm going to put this ballot in. I purposely overvoted a race. The machine's going to stop me. Oh, I didn't overvote that one. It's this one. Excuse me. So this one, the machine will stop me. I overvoted the first race on purpose. And so it's educating the public. It says in the contest for favorite dog breed, it says I chose 2 candidates, but I'm only allowed 1. It gives me 2 options. I can either return that ballot or cast it, and it says with votes that will not count. Let's say the voter wants to return it. They just hit the return button here. Ballot comes back out. They can spoil that and get another ballot. So it does multiple things here. You're saving the county money. You're educating your voters, and you're giving the voters that experience of electronic voting, but still having the paper record to back it up. So we feel like we're providing a comfort level to our voters, and we're finding that younger voters love touchscreen voting. They want to vote on something that they're used to, because kids now are growing up with cell phones in their hands, and this is what they know. But this still gives you the paper backup. So, and this is also an ADA device. So if you have a voter that comes in who's blind, we have a keypad on the side here that has Braille on it. The machine also has audio. So in conjunction with the audio, the voter would plug in. They can have all the instructions and ballot read to them while they're marking it with the keypad. Also giving you the option as a blind voter to black out the screen, so if anybody were to walk behind that voter, they wouldn't be able to see what they're doing. So, any questions for me, judges?
Well, if it was left up to most of the younger generation, they'd vote on their phone.
They would, absolutely.
But that's not the case. And then we have the bulk of our people that do attend the polls and vote probably are mid-class or on up elderly. And anything we can do to make it easier on them is what I might, because that's the people that go vote.
That's
I'm
right.
not knocking the younger people, because I want all of them to go vote. But if they had their choice, they'd walk in with a cell phone and say, I'm gonna vote.
They would.
And they know how.
That's right. And our generation simply isn't gonna do that, so that'll be on them someday. But as far as the elderly, one of the things you can take away feeling better about is, keep in mind now, if I'm an 80-year-old man and I go shopping now, odds are I'm gonna use a touchpad in one of the stores. I'm gonna run my credit card, I'm gonna have to sign something on a touchpad. So even your elderly voters now, we're finding are more comfortable with this equipment because they do use computers so much now in public.
Look at what you got.
Exactly, right in front of you, sir.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know how to use it.
It's very common now. And I'm sure, folks in the audience know that if you go to the store anymore, you're probably 90% gonna use a computer to pay. That's just simply where we're at now.
But Larry, to touch on your point a little bit, the Express Vote is a lit screen with high contrast and a large font and large buttons. The paper ballot is the opposite of that. It's black and white, smaller fonts, harder to read. I really feel like, I know folks that are older sometimes are afraid of technology, but it's much easier for them to use than the pen and the paper. I think once we get started with this, we'll grow quickly into the Express Vote, which also, we spend $65,000 in election year on ballots. Some of them we use, some of them we don't. Some of that's just pure waste. With the Express Vote, we can not only eliminate that cost, we can also eliminate all the risks that's involved in not having enough ballots, ordering too many ballots, and all the time it takes us to try to make a good educated guess on that number.
As far as the speed to get your results, is good or better?
It will be the same with this.
Okay.
I won't get into,
Yeah, please don't.
well, no, I won't get into further, when he talks about electronic poll books, that changes, that improves every single aspect of an election. And there's an open RFP right now, the state, to purchase poll books for every precinct. That's a total game changer, and this equipment is ready for that and ready to adopt into that new, and it's improving, it improves in two most important places. It improves the experience for the voter, and it improves the job the election official can do, poll worker can do. But that's poll books are awesome. I'll preach for an hour on it if you let me, but this stuff is ready to go for that. Also, this stuff has the firmware, what actually runs the machine can be updated. With what we have right now, if there's a major legislation change in election, we're out of business. It can't be changed.
Do you feel comfortable that this equipment that we're looking at today will last at least 10 years?
This equipment, I'd let Chris answer that question. He was just talking about some equipment they've got in other states.
For example, New York City has used this equipment since 2010, and they have about, I want to say, 12,000 machines, and we've taken care of their equipment, they've supported it, and that's been New York City averaging 12 elections a year, and they've been doing just fine.
Well, I know we've had several different machines.
Yeah, and the machines, I was telling him this morning, the machines we have now, this is a tank compared to that. And our machines are still in good shape. Also, they don't sunset this equipment.
That's right.
They support this equipment from now on. That's the advantage of dealing with a manufacturer and not a sales company. We're dealing with the people that design and create the equipment. They're gonna be here supporting this equipment as long as it lasts.
We support Eagles in Idaho from 1978, and we still support them. So we won't let you down as far as support. We're there for you, and all we do, the point Kenny just made is, we're not a dealer, we are a manufacturer, and we will support you as long as you have your equipment.
What's your longest piece of equipment out? I mean, what's the longest history of a piece of equipment? How long has it lasted a city, county?
Well, I'll use the Eagle. The Eagle tabulator has been out since 1978, and that's still being used in Idaho and I believe a few other states. So that is now, what would that be, 39 years old for a piece of equipment.
So they've never bought new.
No, sir.
The new software has been updated
Yep,
or
and
whatever.
we've supported them all, every bit of the way, yep.
And this is all lightweight too, as far as moving, right?
This is actually heavier, but that's good. I mean, that piece of equipment, and you look on your quote there, that's a $5,700 piece of equipment sitting in front of you there. You don't want it lightweight and flimsy. You want that scanner to be protected. There's more protection in that lid than there is in the entire other piece of equipment we have. We had somebody walk on top of our equipment one time the weekend before an election in the basement of the fire department, and we had 3 scanners fail.
You said you could reuse the ballot?
Yes, sir. So What I meant by that is, these are blank, the thermal ballots are blank, so whatever you don't use in an election, you can just store these and use them for the next election, so you're not wasting anything. You don't have to shred these as you would a name on ballot or
Now,
traditional ballot.
you can't, once it's been used and voted on, you can't reuse
You
it.
can't reuse that, you can reuse a blank one.
So there won't be no hanging chads with it?
No, sir, no hanging chads. And there's no ink either, so this is all, there's no, yeah,
It's all thermal printing.
All
So
thermal.
there's no ribbons.
and no hanging chads. Yes, sir.
Kenny, for,
The equipment we currently have is being sunsetted, which means it's gonna phase out.
How long, Kenny?
They haven't said yet. The company we use right now is just floating rumors out there to clerks, you know, this stuff's getting old. We're gonna have to replace it, because they have, their manufacturer has a new line of equipment.
And they're for sale, the manufacturer.
And the manufacturer of Hart Intercivic, who actually manufactures the equipment, is currently for sale. So we don't know what's gonna happen with them in the future, with Hart Intercivic, with the ES&S. We've got a huge track record. How many states you in?
Right now, we're in 47 states.
That's a large company. You had a question?
Kenny, for older voters, will they be allowed to take a family member or somebody in to help assist
Yeah,
with
that's all
these?
in statute. There's voter assistance. None of this, all this is complies with statute. This is all federally and state certified equipment. So, yeah, but that's all mostly a workflow and procedure thing and paperwork. Yeah, anybody can request assistance. But it has to be documented, because in a lot of, especially in the eastern part of our state, there's some folks that assist 50 to 75 voters per election. And that's.
They're kind of
we're starting to get a little
swaying the
frustrated.
way the vote goes, it could be.
Yeah.
Surely not.
When I used the machine one of those, one of them, most of them was just vote for one.
Yes,
You got
sir.
a list of people to vote for. The others was two. If I go ahead and vote for a third one, will it kick it out?
It'll stop you and say you need to deselect one of your other selections.
Okay.
So the machine won't stop you in that instance. Sir. And this supports an 11-inch, 14-inch, 17-inch, or 19-inch ballot, whatever the clerk decides to use, so.
And that just depends on how many races you have.
Yeah.
The more races, the longer it gets. The other advantage about the express vote is, it will put, let's say, we're in Berea Council Chambers today, we could have 25, 26 people running for this, one of these seats in November. It will put all those on the screen, rather than scrolling down with our old equipment we have now. And if you, eventually, I'm afraid that we're gonna have some amendments, it's gonna fall on a cycle, we're gonna have some amendments, we're gonna have city races, we're gonna have mayor races, everything like we got coming up. We're not gonna be able to fit it on two-page, on a front and back ballot. And then what? We're not a state that's ready for a two-page ballot.
But if it does happen, Miami-Dade County had a 5-page ballot, and we were able to fit everything on one 17-inch ballot on the express vote card. So.
What's the shelf life of those?
5 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's thermal paper, so you'll want to keep it out of the light. So if I were to leave this sitting right here on this desk in the sunlight, it wouldn't last 5 years. But if I put this on a dark shelf at 70 degrees, it would last 5 years. Sir.
Now let's talk about the money.
That's what I've been waiting on.
The other advantage,
I'm
and like I
open
I know
to
it's
comment.
we can take as much time as you all want to take tonight. But we've got, I plan on over the next week meeting with y'all individually, or however you want to do it, to really just get down in detail on this. But I'll go over some of the points. The other advantage to this equipment is that in the beginning, we're gonna hire everything done. From the ballot layout, the programming, all the setup is gonna be done by them, because we're new to it. We will soon start to taper that back. And what I want to get to, what I was telling Chris on the way down here this morning, is I want to get to where it makes sense to do everything we can ourselves until we get to too much risk involved, where we're getting to a place where we don't need to be. That's what this back page is. These back 2 pages are all the services for setting up the ballots. And you can see we're getting a discount on all those services too for the next 3 years. But this is where this equipment can really save us over time, because right now, the manufacturer we have, and one reason I was glad that ES&S was selected, is they won't allow you to do any of that. That's a big part of their business model, is they charge you to come set your machines up, and they charge you to run the test decks on them before elections, and they charge you to set the ballot up because they're a printing company.
Well, that's one of the biggest costs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kenny, you were talking a minute ago about 65,000 for ballots. Is that what you said?
That's per election year, yeah.
That's
primary and general.
That's per election year.
Yeah.
All right. And if those ballots are 25 cents a ballot,
Our ballot's 38.
So your ballots are 38,
If
so,
you see in the quote, they quoted us a 3-year price for 14 or 17 inch ballots at 21 cents.
so that's a quarter. So these other ballots are a quarter of the cost of that.
Right.
So you're saying 65,000, that's 130,000. So you're saying we'd be saving
No,
a bunch of money on these versus the,
but the cost there is the 19-pound pencil. You can't just have one of those in a precinct.
That's right.
You have a line
Oh,
around three
okay.
times.
I
You've got the, there's an ROI there that we haven't done yet because I'm not comfortable
I got you,
totally switching.
all at
My
once.
precinct officials are gonna be nervous anyway when I
Yeah.
show up with the new equipment. If I showed up with new equipment without paper ballots, they'd probably walk out or run me out.
But long-term, we can get to that.
Long-term, we can switch over. What we need right now, if we were gonna go total express votes and away from paper ballots, which would be a huge savings, over time, we would need 40 more of those machines. And they're
Okay,
$3,300 a piece.
okay. Which, I mean, return on investment,
Yes.
it would pay for itself in a
Right.
short amount of time.
And the other thing, that if you go all express votes with the poll books, it eliminates the precinct officer deciding which ballot you get. Because just like right now, we're gonna have Democrat, Republican ballot faces, and then all the splits from House districts, magisterial districts, city, county, all those ballots are laying there, and the election officer has to select which ballots you get. With the electronic poll books, it's already in the system, and it tells the election officer what ballots you get. And like he said, if you go all express votes with the poll books, you give them a barcode that they just scan, and their ballot comes up. So it takes all the human being out of it, so there's no mistakes.
When was the last time we purchased new equipment?
I think it
As
was
a county.
2006.
Close.
2006, and do you know how much we spent for that equipment?
That was probably federal HAVA money, I would imagine.
It was HAVA money. All our HAVA money was used in '06. Fayette County has $1 million, the rest of the state has 200,000. Fayette County's not spending their HAVA money so far.
Kenny, with the quote of 418,000, what all equipment do you get with that?
You get, we're gonna get 50 of the DS200s. That leaves us with 3 spares. Because we've got we've got an absentee precinct and 46 other precincts. And then 50 of the express votes. That leaves us spares. That's 1 per precinct and some spares. And then a couple, we will vote absentee walk-in on the express vote at the courthouse. So we won't have, that's a whole ton of savings right there, that we won't have all those ballots spread out that we had to pick from.
So you get 50 of those scanners,
Mm-hmm.
and how many of these express?
50.
50 of these also.
That will be
You have 3 spares.
Yep. What's that?
How many machines do you have now?
We've got 64 e-scans, which is the ADA compliant machine, the screen. I'm sorry, we've got 64 e-scans, which is the scanner, and 52 e-slates, JBCs, which is the thing that the judges use, that the screen connects to, and 57 e-slates, the screens themselves.
All right, so I see that, I didn't trip over a bunch of cords when John was up here casting his lot earlier, so I'm assuming those are lithium batteries. if
Both
those are-
machines have backup batteries in them. I left this one unplugged because I didn't want anyone to trip on it, but they run perfectly well on backup batteries. Absolutely.
So on your side, those will be wired electric?
Oh, yeah, they'll be plugged up throughout the day.
Okay.
And the battery's charging while it's plugged up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just in case the power goes out.
Right, that happens. We had a storm yesterday.
Yep.
Probably won't happen on May 22nd, but I'm just saying it could be a tornado or something else that we want to keep.
The other thing about this equipment, it is, ES&S is in so many states that there are variations of this equipment. In some states, this equipment is networked, the scanner is itself, and it's giving live results back. That is not the case here. That tabulator is not hooked to anything wired or wirelessly. There's no communication devices in that tabulator.
Does that include Russia?
I heard another story on Russia. I'm tired of hearing about Russia
You know,
interfering in the elections. What Russia interfered with was Twitter.
So, Kenny,
They,
back
they,
to
okay, I can go on another hour.
back to
Yes.
the real questions. I see there's several places in here where the quote includes jump drives.
Yes, sir.
What are you gonna use jump drives for?
Jump drives have the ballot faces on them. They're in, where's your key?
Yep, there's one in here and one in there, and
Jump drives are, right now we use a card, I don't know what the name of it is. It's a 64-pin card, it's about that long, about that wide, that the precinct officials bring back with results on, with the unofficial results. There's 3 spots for jump drives in here, and that's where one of those will go. One will have the ballot faces on it, and one will have the results.
it's a military encrypted USB stick, single cell. That's why they're a little more expensive.
And again, they are encrypted.
Correct.
Also, you can see they're locked in here, but they're encrypted, so you can't bring your jump drive from home and stick in here and think that you're gonna
Read anything.
manipulate the results. It won't even talk to you.
Yeah, that was gonna be the next question. Why 15 jump drives are $105
Yep.
each?
Yeah. And the company that produces those, if somebody else tries to buy them, they would alert us, so nobody else can just buy those off the street.
Can they be reused, those jump drives?
Yep, they can use them for multiple elections, yes, sir.
So you just erase it the next time?
Correct, and they can be used up to 20,000 times, so.
And one of the savings that we've already gone ahead, and something we're gonna do ourselves, is there's software here we're purchasing. We can load the jump drives ourselves versus having ES&S load the jump drives and physically mail them to us. We go on their secure site. It's not a website, but a secure site, a secure portal. And we will download the ballot faces to us, and we'll load them on the jump drives and load them in the machines ourselves.
So is that what comes under election services, under coding?
Yes.
Does not include coding? So you'll have off-site coding?
Yes,
and
which
you-
we have now.
And you go on site and download that
Yep.
into your jump drive?
Yep.
And you go
Right now,
down to the
they're emailed
machine,
to
you
us.
got the ballot?
Right now, anything like that's emailed, ballot faces are emailed.
All right. So in the coding, I'm assuming then that's just for the ballot portion of it, right?
Yep.
Putting the ballots together?
That's the coding. And then back on the back 2 pages are the services for the ballot layout and the audio.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good.
So it's from going, sort of talk about the financial portion of it. I noticed on here, obviously, the total amount, with purchasing all this that's on this sheet. And it also talks about payment plan and an interest rate, and that's directly through the company.
That is, that's the other thing that's advantage with them. Like I say, I didn't have the question until this morning if they would defer payment until after the fiscal year started. And I got a 30-second response, sure, no problem. Because they have control of all
Is
this.
there any negotiating on the interest rate?
Yeah, we certainly will.
Yep, that's up. I mean,
Well, you got 3.99%.
3.99, and that's zero down in 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see a little better interest rate, but, okay. So, so this is a
But I
basic.
also want to point out too, again, that we're receiving, because of being an early adopter, that's, our equipment's phasing out. We have an opportunity here to have a discount of $77,700 on this equipment, right off the top, before we ever get down into the interest rate or anything like that. So I think and they're, again, want to negotiate interest rates, but I think ES&S has really come to the table with an extremely strong offer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be a county in 3 or 4 years that was being forced to buy new equipment because the stuff not going to be supported anymore and not have those discounts. And you also see they're purchasing our equipment back, our old equipment back for almost $11,000. Whereas we would have to try to figure out what to do with it because it's not, nobody wants it.
Do you come get it?
Yeah, and that's what we don't want. We want to make sure we get it and recycle it, and we'll give you a certificate to show we
So
recycle
that's
it.
recycled in environmentally friendly way.
Yeah.
Hey, one last question, I'll leave you alone.
Yes, sir.
In the tabulation hardware, you used the term jump drives. In the express voting, you used the term flash drives. Are those interchangeable? Is that just what you chose to use?
You know, I'm not sure about the terminology. That is interchangeable, though. Yeah, it's the same thing. They're both USB sticks, basically. Yeah, I'm not sure about why they would. You know, the difference is the tabulator, of course, tallies votes, whereas the express vote just holds a ballot style on there.
Okay, what I was curious about that, and the reason I asked you that is because of not crypto, but the sync bits that you're talking about. It's using, I'm assuming, a 64-bit.
Correct.
On the top one, I'm assuming that's the same thing on the second one.
Yes, sir, it is.
Larry and I can remember when we was having to give clerk money. help make his budget or buy what he needs. What you been giving back to us?
Reported December, it was almost 600,000, and we're expecting 700,000 by the end of this year.
It's our responsibility to buy the equipment.
The KRS says that, yep.
This
That's right.
department's giving us back more than we've ever had from.
You know, the thing, Kenny, that really, that's the really impressive part about the machine is the part that's not even here yet, and that's the polling books part. Because that takes care of lots of headaches there that people
Well,
don't even know about yet.
And if I had, I mean, I was just in Frankfurt yesterday, just to testify against the bill that was not called, because I tried to work to get it not called, that said that no county in the state of Kentucky could use electronic poll books until after May 1st, 2019. And that's great. But we're not a normal county in the state of Kentucky. We've had we've been on 2 pilot projects with poll books that we've used here in a precinct in Madison County, and live voters voted with 0 problems. And we also use them down here in the Berea Wet Dry as a lookup for folks that weren't sure if they lived in the city or want to know, had questions about why they couldn't vote, that kind of thing. We use those poll books there. So if poll books were a lock and we were getting the poll books, I'd be here today pushing to buy all express votes, because it eliminates so many problems with the paper ballots, keeping track of the paper ballots, who gets the right ballot, all that goes away with poll books and express vote. But that's not the situation. I can't bank on it.
Kenny, that brings up a good point. So, you know, it's 2018. Let's say the poll books are approved in 2020. And we've bought 50 of these $5,700 machines that we want to then go to these machines. Will you still have to have both machines?
Right. Yeah, because all that, like I
Okay.
said, that's just to mark a ballot. It's a very easy,
I got you. Okay.
ADA-friendly way to mark a ballot. We're required to have an ADA machine in each precinct.
If
for
we had
federal
poll
election.
books right now, would we buy this same?
Absolutely.
So this is what you would buy, no
This
matter.
is the setup that folks are using with poll.
We would not, I would be leaning towards using all express votes and not pre-printing ballots, which is the $65,000
Right.
in election cycle
Yeah.
that we'd be saving.
But obviously, if you had poll books, you wouldn't print ballots, so there would be no need for that
No,
second tray.
That's what keeps counting.
Yeah, everything gets counted in there.
But you wouldn't need the second tray. Is there another machine that just goes with poll books?
Just to show you what this tray is.
Or just the little piece of paper?
This tray is all just
It's
a
a plastic
guide.
divider.
Yeah, it's all.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
all right. I
It
got
just
you.
it just keeps that narrow ballot from going crooked.
Right.
Yeah.
when it's
Save
getting-
you much money removing the trays.
Yep.
And the state of Virginia, just so you're aware, they actually use all express votes to save that money. So that's what they went with, all express votes. So they might have a location with 10 express votes in it,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I mean, just doing quick math, I mean, there's a return on investment
Yeah.
with the ballots. I mean, but in our situation, we
And-
can't.
And we've also worked with the state board. When poll books come, we're kind of going to be out there on the edge of how we vote in Kentucky again. We are going to look to combine, not precincts, but the equipment and the election officers for each precinct. And that's going to save us 2 to 3, maybe 4 election officers per polling location. Because that's our toughest problem, is finding people that want to work the polls. And most of our poll workers are getting older, and as they get older, they don't work anymore, and we don't have any younger people coming in to replace them. So this, like I say, I could go on about elections all day, and it bores people to tears, but this is the first step in really getting to where we can get what I call down and ready. We can get flexible to come with what changes. We can get more flexible to save more money in the future. If y'all have more questions, I'll quit preaching.
So, Kenny, we're talking 2 months before you would need to switch over these machines.
And that is
Pretty
down to the
quick,
wire.
yeah.
If I didn't have the folks working with me that I do, and a company that I trusted completely, I wouldn't even be up here today. We'd be talking about November.
How much, Chris, are our old machines gonna be valued at?
You know, I'm not sure what Ron valued those at.
It's
He gave us
$10,800.
10,000, 10,800.
$10,800 is what they're getting for. And like you said, they're gonna go directly to recycle.
Yeah. We just don't want them ending up on eBay or on.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I guess, so to confirm with what Kenny's presented here today, what I'm hearing. I'm hearing everything positive about it. And do we want to make the motion, if we feel comfortable as a court, to approve? Do we want to just approve him to move to the next step and then we can next court bring back a contract? What do we want to do as a court?
I'm comfortable with whatever you all are comfortable with. If you
Well,
feel
you're
like
the
you-
one that runs the election.
Yeah, if you feel like you can make a vote today to go ahead and go forward with this, we will, pull the trigger and get a 2-week head start. I mean, it's gonna be a
Coming
flurry
right
of
down to the
activity.
wire now, you need to make a decision.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, guys, we don't have, I mean, with all the financial obligations that are staring us in the face, I mean, we're not gonna obviously just pay for it.
Well, we got
So-
several months down the road before we have to make.
So, I mean, I feel like this would be put on a payment plan, which obviously, if we went with the payment plans listed here, annual payment of $59,000, I mean, I think, Glenna, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that we can come up with $59,000 a year, for 8 years. And so hopefully we can make that a little better. I'm not crazy about the interest rate, but we can see what our options are.
Judge, I'd like to see Kenny and the county attorney get together and draw up a contract and then bring it back and know what we're actually getting and what the bottom dollar's gonna be before we go ahead and make a vote on this. That's my opinion.
Okay. All right, thanks, Kenny.
Well, thank you.
Bye. I don't hear any other motions, so.
Will that, excuse me, Judge.
Yeah.
Will that give you time in case, say, 2 weeks from now, that we do go ahead and approve this, you can get them for this primary?
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing, again, I don't mean to harp on the same points, but that's another thing that's good about dealing directly with the manufacturer. You didn't have to call somebody and say, hey, man, did you have X number of these in stock? What's going on? They make these. They've got them. Getting the equipment here is the easy part. It's getting everybody trained, getting their software installed on our stuff, and getting my folks trained up. And like I said, if I didn't have the folks working with me at the clerk's office that I know can do this, I wouldn't be here today.
And the election board is 100% in favor of this.
Yeah. Like I say, we had 2 Democrat, Republican representatives from the
Yeah.
election board on the RFP.
Yeah. Yep. All right, thanks, Kenny, appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Next on the agenda is appointment to the Ethics Board. We actually have 2 appointments. First is a reappointment, Mary Lois Kearns. She represents the 2nd District, is how we've designed our Ethics Board. She is Rogers' choice, but Mary Lois Kearns. So I need a motion and a second to approve the reappointment of Mary Lois Kearns to the Ethics Board, and her appointment would expire March 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
No discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes?
Master Botkin.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next is the appointment of Chandler Combs to the Ethics Board. Chandler will be Larry's recommendation, representing Larry. And I want to also thank Buddy Montgomery for his service to the Ethics Board over the last several years. But this will be an appointment for Chandler Combs to the Ethics Board. I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second that.
No discussion?
He's been on several different boards, and he's always
Yeah.
done a great job.
Yeah.
He's
He's a good
always
person.
there.
Did you tell him you were gonna put him on there? I'm
Absolutely.
surprised.
Well, I know.
Like
You
to be
know,
retired.
it wasn't a 2-minute conversation, I'll tell you that.
We have a motion and a second. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor,
Yes?
Master Botkin.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next is the appointment to the Madison County Utility Board. This is, appointment will be Robert Helton, representing the Kingston area. Again, he'll be replacing Wanda Pennington, and I really want to thank Wanda Pennington for her service. She has sat on the utility board for a very long time, a wonderful, wonderful lady, a servant to the community, a very well-respected lady in the Kingston area and in Madison County. So if you approve the recommendation for Robert Helton sitting on the Madison County Utility District Board, I would appreciate a motion and a second.
Make that motion also, and make a comment on Wanda. She's an amazing public servant. That's all you can say about it.
Yeah.
I'll second it, and I'm gonna agree with you, Roger, and Robert will make a good person for that, because he'll study everything before he
Yep.
talks.
I think it'd be a good asset. So I have a motion and a second. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
No.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is the Madison County, Northern Madison County Sanitation District. This will be the reappointment, and we sort of slipped up on Jim Rowe, and missed his reappointment. And so at this time, I'd like to reappoint Jim Rowe. He actually is the chairman for the Northern Madison County Sanitation District Board, and his term will expire on October the 8th, 2020. I need a motion and a second to approve him.
So moved.
Second.
No discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Coles?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is appointment to the Northern Madison County Sanitation Board. This is Marcella Hayden. She served on the board for some time. Her appointment would expire January 10th, 2022. I need a motion and a second to approve Marcella Hayden to the Northern Madison County Sanitation Board.
So
So-
moved.
Second.
No discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is Johnny D. Webb to the reappointment to the Northern Madison County Sanitation Board. His term will expire January 10th, 2021. I need a motion and a second to approve appointment.
So moved.
No discuss, no, I got a second.
Second.
No discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Coles?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is CSEP. We got award bids for fire equipment. Dustin?
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
We, working with Union City volunteers, they came to us about a year ago requesting for some assistance through CSEP to do a refurb on their tanker truck. CSEP's going to be able to put up $35,000 towards the project. They're going to be using their existing cab and chassis that they have today, and then the bid was out for basically putting a new body on it, a new tank on it. We received one bid from Southeast Apparatus in Corbin, Kentucky. The base bid came in at $69,850 with some options. After working with Chief Eads and the committee, they did want to purchase some of the options. One of those was a backup camera and then a rework of the pump module. The rework of the pump module originally came in at $8,500, and after looking through that with the committee, there were some items that the bidder had put on that rework that they didn't feel they needed. So because we only had one bidder, we were able to communicate with Southeast and ask them, hey, is it possible that these 4 items can be removed? They said, yes, that's possible. And then they gave us what those 4 items were worth. So what turned out was $8,500 went down to $6,815. So that brought the total for the options to $7,490, and the project total to $77,340, of which CSEP's going to provide $35,000, and then Union City's going to use their county, state aid, and money that they've received from fundraisers to pay for the remainder of it. So if there's any discussion, please say so. But with that, we just asked the court to accept the bid and to move forward with the total of $77,340 for those 2 options.
Read that number again, 77,000.
340, Judge.
Thank you.
You bet.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion, we move forward with the bid that Dustin's brought forth for the tanker box on
Okay.
fire truck for Union City.
Thanks, John. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I'd just like to commend Robert and Mark for coming in this morning. What a great job they do at the Union City Fire Department. I mean, we got two great volunteer departments in the 3rd District, Waco and Union City, and they're both well-staffed. They're trained well. They keep on the job, and they protect their county, and I want to thank each and every one of you all's volunteers down there. Robert, thank you all so much for what you do.
Do you get anything out of Marty Sewell is what I want to know down there?
We're not going there.
You're not going there, okay, yeah.
I'm glad, because he's here.
So I have a motion, second. No more discussion.
I'm tickled to see you show up with the checkbooks, what I'm tickled about.
No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckton?
Yes.
Judge Slover?
Yes. Thanks, Dustin. Appreciate it. Guys, thank you. Appreciate you all. Next is the road department, boom truck. Scott? Good morning, buddy.
Good morning.
You tired?
A little bit. I came to court last time, and you all actually had approved to go ahead with the purchase of a boom truck for $39,500. Apparently, we kind of jumped ahead of ourselves. We went back and put bids out for a truck, and we did receive a bid for a truck for $39,500. It was the only bid we received, so I'm just asking for your all's approval to accept that bid.
Is that what we approved?
Yes.
It is. When we originally wrote the first RFP, it was specific with the truck and the boom height and all that. And so when we went back and found this truck, it met different specifications of what our original RFP was. And so when we caught that, that would be against the procurement procedures, and so we actually had to put out another RFP. So that's why it happened the way
And
it
just
happened.
for the record, I want all the magistrates comfortable with this. When we found this truck, I called the judge and I said, I can't recommend a truck to this court without physically looking at this truck. It was located in South Carolina. I got up 5 o'clock one morning, drove to South Carolina, physically went over this truck all day and drove back home the same day. So I can stand here and recommend that we buy this truck. It's exactly what we need. It has everything we need on it.
How high up does that boom go?
55 feet.
55?
Certified until, it actually is under certification until June of this year. I did learn a lot about trucks that day. Certification is only for the electric people. That is not certifying your hydraulics. That's not certifying your bucket. That's certifying nothing other than the electroanalysis of someone standing in that bucket and the bucket gets hit with the live power line. So that's all they check for, is to make sure that your truck is grounded. But I did take a mechanic with me. We inspected the truck top and bottom. We found a few issues on the truck. The dealer agreed to replace those issues, and then we told him what we had to spend. He sent a bid in for the truck for $39,500, and on his live website, he was asking $47,900 for the truck. So I feel like that he worked well with us. We got a 10 grand discount and got exactly what we needed.
Well, if you feel like that's what we need, I'm glad to know that we got something to go up a little bit more, because that should cover about anything we got.
We didn't feel, Willie and I both feel that we really don't have the experience to go much higher than that. If you get into anything higher than that, we would have to send people to school for training. And, you know, a fall from even 55 feet is tragic, but I don't think we need to get into anything over 55 feet. If we run into something, we need to contract it.
I agree.
I'm sure we could be
And
using
we
it
have
right
in the
now.
bank.
Yep.
Yep.
I have I'm sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say, I have a lot of respect for your judgment, and I want to thank you for taking the time to go down there and physically look at it, and to take one of our people with you down there to look at it. So we appreciate that.
No problem.
Scott, I was down on the job last summer and saw these boys working out of our old truck and some of the danger issues they were dealing with. And you know, I came to you personally and said we need another truck, and I appreciate you looking into this and finding what we need and at the price we can, you know, afford.
It took us a while to get here, but we got here.
That's fine. We got what we need, and I appreciate your expertise in making the right decision here.
Sure.
Do we have an outlet maybe for the old truck?
We've been having really great success selling our equipment through Gov Deals, so we will probably list it on Gov
Okay.
Deals as soon as we get this truck available. Because of course, we're still having to use the old one due to the weather yesterday.
When do you expect this truck will be in?
In 10 days.
I would say it will be delivered. They are going to deliver it for that price within the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Maybe just let us know, and so we can let Madison know in case they want to come when it's going to be here, in case they want to look at it.
And I do have plenty of pictures of it and details. If any of you want to see it, just come by and I'll give you a copy.
I'm not getting up in at 55 feet, no, Judge. That's out of the question.
Given the temperature, Scott, you could cancel that delivery, and I'll be willing to drive to South Carolina and get it.
After the drive I had down there and back, I don't think it would be a good bargain.
I probably wouldn't do it in a day. That might take a week while I.
Yeah, that would be okay.
Yeah.
That'd be too much expensive.
We got a motion.
Mm-mm. No, we need a motion and second to approve the bid.
Make a
Award the
motion to
bid.
accept the bid.
Second that.
No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, we have personnel. We have some road department and also at the golf course. First is seasonal employees. Scott?
The first seasonal employee we would like to ask to bring back on April the 4th is Mr. Stephen Brock. He's actually worked for us for years as a seasonal employee. And his beginning salary due to past evaluations would be $13.84. Mr. Brock holds a licensed CDL.
Yeah.
So move.
Second.
No discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next,
The
Scott?
second one will be Mr. Lynn Brewer. He's also worked for us for years past. Due to him being here previous years and his evaluation, his pay would be $10.25, and he will also start on April the 4th.
CDL?
He does not have a CDL.
Is he interested in obtaining one?
He's not.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve
So
the
moved.
seasonal hire?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, we have road department truck driver, general labor. I think this is a new hire, Scott.
It is a new hire. We put applications online for several positions. This was an application we received, and this is for truck driver general labor, Mr. John Brockman. He will be starting out at the regular classification pay of $13 per hour. And we've got a start date for him on 14th,
So tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Okay.
As you can tell, we need drivers bad.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
And he also has, obviously,
He
CDL,
does have
and he's
CDL,
had
and he
some
has 10
experience.
years' experience truck driving,
Yeah.
Class A CDLs. We only require Bs, but more experience will take it.
Yeah. All right.
Judge, I move we hired John Brockman for a truck driver.
General labor. All right.
Second.
Second. No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Scott, next is a promotion to service and parts manager.
And we also advertised for parts service manager after we recently lost our manager. And we actually had 13 applications. We interviewed 5 people. And among us, that someone we had previously hired was the best applicant, best candidate for the position, and had more experience than any other applicant we had. So we're asking to do a promotion for Ronnie Hughes to Parts and Service Manager. And this will take effect March the 21st, which is a new pay period.
So he spent some time down training with you?
He actually has already been through the Napa Track certification program. He's had a full day training with them, and he actually has been operating in this position for about 8 days.
Good.
Judge, I move we hire Ronnie Hughes for service parts manager.
Second.
Promote him.
Promote him, yeah. No discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Last for the road department, looks like we have a promotion to light equipment operator.
Actually,
No,
heavy equipment.
it's heavy
operator.
equipment operator.
We had advertised for this position. We've had a employee that's been with us for about a year. He's impressed us every day he's come to work. And he did apply for the position. It was the only applicant we had. His name is Tim Mitchell. We're requesting to promote him from light equipment operator to heavy equipment operator. His pay will change from $14 to $16 per hour. And we would like to make this effective on March 21st.
So moved.
Second that.
No discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott, appreciate it. And
Hang on just a second. I just want to say, for the road department, we've talked about this over and over now for 3 years. And I'm glad to see that we can get people from inside who's qualified, who meets the qualifications, who's willing to step up and take those jobs, and so that's good. We thank you very much.
Worked very well.
That's the way it's supposed to work. Sorry, sir.
no, you took the words out of my mouth. That's what I was gonna say. So, you said it. Next, Gary? Good morning, buddy.
Morning.
We've got a couple of seasonal grounds crew
Yes,
recommendations.
shorter list than last time. We actually have 3 positions open. We had 3 people that we were going to hire. One of them backed out, so we still have 1 position open. The first one I'd like to put up is Kenny Wilshire, start date of tomorrow, and it's at $7.25 an hour,
And these are seasonal grounds crew.
seasonal grounds crew, yes.
Had he been with us before?
No.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
No discussion, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
All right, and the second one, also a new seasonal grounds crew employee, is Joseph Hampton, also starting tomorrow at $7.25 an hour.
So moved.
Second.
No
Are you
discussion.
gonna fill the other one later, or just hold on for now?
We have the posting out. We're gonna see if we have any people who apply for it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We got a motion and a second. No more discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
And if I could quickly clarify, I realized last time I was going to put 10 people out there to bring on to staff. I just wanted to go over real quickly how we have them scheduled. The seasonal grounds crew, they're 5 days a week, 7:30 to 3:30. But as far as the outside staff, the seasonal outside staff and pro shop staff, we actually have 14 shifts per week. We're open 7 days a week, and we have 1 person working the morning shift and afternoon shift inside and outside. So that's why we have that many employees. The average days that someone works is 2 to 4 days. So the average would be 3. But anyway, they only work half a day. That's why we have 8 employees as far as seasonal employees between the pro shop and the outside. Ideally, we'd like to have more than 1 person per shift, but to keep costs down, we just do it that way. And one note also, the person who works outside during the week typically can put in 2 more hours a day than the pro shop, because they can't go home until the last cart is in the barn. So I just wanted to head over that so you know how many people we have there.
What are your daily hours out there, Gary, at this time of year?
It's seasonal, of course. Once the season starts, it's 8 to 6 for March. April through September, it's 7 to 7. In October and November, it's also 8 to 6. And of course, like a day like today, we don't bring those people in because they don't have anything to do.
Yep.
Okay?
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate the update. Thank you very much. Next is Judge's Report. Just got a few announcements. Just want to, everybody prepare sort of upcoming events and courthouse closings. Madison County Courthouse and all its related offices will be closed at 12 noon on Friday, March the 30th for Good Friday holiday. We will reopen back on Monday, April the 2nd at 8 a.m. Madison County Humane Society is hosting a chili supper fundraiser on Friday, March the 23rd from 5 until 8 p.m. at the Folk Center on West Jefferson Street in Berea. Richmond's Holy Week services will be Monday, March the 26th through Friday, March 30th at noon each day at Richmond's First Christian Church on Main Street. Berea's Community Good Friday service will be Friday, March 30th at 12:15 p.m. at Union Church on Prospect Street in Berea. A couple Easter egg hunts that are coming up. Richmond Parks and Recreations will be Saturday, March 31st at Lake Reba. Please visit the Richmond Park and Recreations website for exact times and location for each age group. And then also here in Berea, the 81st annual Kiwanis Easter egg hunt will be in Berea Saturday, March 31st, beginning at 9 a.m. at the skate park expansion right behind the Folk Center off West Jefferson Street in Berea. And you can contact the Berea Recreation for more details. Also want to give a shout out to all our staff. Yesterday we obviously had a 2-hour delay and we had a pretty hefty snow that did a lot of tree damage, power lines. So I appreciate everybody's due diligence in trying to get everything back up and ready so we can move on with our daily life. So I want to give a shout out to everybody that was involved there from a county standpoint. So thank you much. Next, comments from department heads. Ms. Rachel? Good morning again.
Good morning. I just wanted to make everyone aware that we do have the City of Richmond versus Madison County blood drive. An email went out this morning with the link in order to sign up. It will take place on March 20th, 2018 at the First Christian Church, and it is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., but you have to sign up. So make sure that you, if you'd like to donate.
9 to what?
9 to 3. Yeah, and then that's all in the email that went out this morning,
Okay.
and it's got the link for where you can sign up. That includes the sheriff's office, clerk's office, any type of Madison County government agency can vote for us. We have lost the past 2 years, so I would really appreciate if everyone would come vote, or come vote. Go donate some blood. And then if you personally,
That's right.
like I'm trying. And if you can personally not donate blood, you can always have a family member come or a friend, and they just have to sign up with your name on the application somewhere, and then we also get credit for that as well. So, thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate it. Glenna?
A couple weeks ago, I left the audit. We got back our 16-17 fiscal year audit, and I left it in Raw's boxes. Also gave one to Judd. We do have that posted online now, so anyone in the public can go to our MadisonCountyKY.us website and look at our audit. We had 0 findings. It was a great audit. Just wanted to let the public know.
Yeah. Thank you, Glenna. Appreciate it. Appreciate the job you do. Anybody else? All right. Next, comments from magistrates. Mr. Larry Combs.
Thank you, Judge, and let me extend in my warm welcome to the road department. I know they work for long hours and hard hours, and you know, this is just one of the snows that we're just not used to. I know the Richmond Register called me yesterday and asked me for a comment, and I was pretty hot at the time because I was getting so many complaints, but that's part of my job. So I cooled off, and I told them, I said, well, no, it's not satisfactory, but it's more than satisfactory to the number of trucks we have and the number of workers we have. You know, you gotta look at both sides. Yes, Willie could use 10 more or 10 more trucks. We don't have the money for that. But I want to thank you for what you all done. I talked to Scott several times, and they were Johnny on the spot. But you know, sometimes you get a complaint that you can't satisfy, and you take it to heart, and you don't need to. So if I talked bad to somebody yesterday, I apologize to them. I don't think I did. If I did, I apologize to them. But I'm very proud of our road department, and I wish we could get more truck drivers and more trucks. And someday down the road, we'll get to the quota we really need. But you know, how many more snows will we get like this? You know, we had close to a foot in Berea. Now, I know further you went that way, Jackson County will have 3 or 4 inches. But it was one of them snows that was tough to do. I used a chainsaw yesterday from 9 o'clock till 4 and cut 5 trees myself because they had the road blocked. Well, I knew then road department couldn't get to them because they were pushing snow. So I cut it where people could get in and out and went on, and Willie and them's got a crew working today and the rest of the week. I'm sure it'd take 2 weeks, won't it, to clean up. So if people just bear with us, we'll get it back where it was. Other than that.
And some of that, Larry, I mean, just to, I guess, sort of extend on what you're talking about there, I mean, this is the situation where we can't make people come and work for Madison County, but we can entice them by figuring out ways to be able to pay our employees more. And that's a discussion for a different day. I mean, it's not just in the road department either. I mean, it's a discussion that we've got to have, especially with the pension crisis, that we've got to start thinking about being able to be competitive with the private sector. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's the sheriff's department. It doesn't matter if it's Kenny. It doesn't matter if it's the jail. It doesn't matter if it's IT or if it's treasury or animal control. I mean, it does not matter. There's a change in retirement that is going to make it harder to retain and to be competitive with the private sector. And that's something that we as a body are going to have a discussion at some point about increasing our revenues to where that we can put it in and invest into our employees so that we can provide that service. You know, and then constituents have to, in my opinion, they have to understand when there are tax increases or revenue increases that we're doing these things so that we can provide a better service.
Well, it's for the benefit of the people.
It is. That's exactly right.
Judge, I talked to you yesterday, and I know you were busy as a bird dog yesterday. There's probably no telling how many calls you got. I know I got a bunch.
Started early, didn't it, Scott?
I don't know how everybody gets my number.
I give it to them.
Well,
I'll say, what district are you in? Are you in Larry's district here? His number is this.
Yeah, well, I think that's true, but Chris will tell you, my phone blew up last Thursday. I lost 250 numbers. I've been 2 weeks trying to get those numbers back in, and Chris helped me a lot trying to run a background or whatever on it. I told him there might be some on there, he don't need to give me the number. But other than that, Judge, I'm just glad to be here, but I do want to thank the road department again. Y'all done a great job, and thank you.
Thanks, Larry. We go to Tom next.
Sorry,
Roger.
Follow up on Larry, we've had this discussion before in open court, but what's the most important road in Madison County?
The one you live on,
That's exactly
or the
right.
one you're on at the time, really.
The one I'm on at the time, maybe.
However, the one that you think is the most important, typically speaking, is not the most important. We, at least in the 4th district, I've asked them to try to give a little priority to our first responders. We have a lot of state police, a lot of county, a lot of nurses, a lot of doctors. Those folks have to go. And the sheriff in the past has been gracious enough to use Hummers to go down and get folks and get them to work and haul them in our new vehicles and things like that. And we appreciate that, and they appreciate that as well, because things like yesterday just happened. Glenna, you made that just sound way, way, way too easy. You just walked up, oh, we had a great audit, turned around, went back and sat down. You need a serious good pat on the back for that. I mean, things is fantastic. You do that. I mean, I was up there, I guess, when one of the auditors in back in the summer, and I listened to what he had to say, and you done a great job with that. Everybody involved done a great job with that. So pat yourself on the back. Pat her on the back over there, Rachel. She needs it. We did have lots of snow and lots of limbs yesterday. Everybody knows that, and we've got lots of cleanup to do. I'm sure that well, I'm going to speak for you, Judge. I'm hoping that you're going to let us use the road department to kind of clean up some of this mess over in Battlefield where they're just and pear trees just split all over the place. I mean, they're piling them up. I've asked folks if they've called and made comments about it, just to pile them up close to the street as you can over there. And I'm gonna speak for Willie. We're gonna try to help you out on that and get some of that cleaned up. If I'm out of place, Judge, you just tell me so, but we do want to try to do some cleanup over there and help them folks.
Just make it possibly.
There you go.
Comes out
Make
your
your statement possibly.
There you go.
Don't guarantee.
We also need to thank not just the road department, Willie, those guys done well, but also our first responders. Those guys were out in force yesterday. Thank every single one of those. Y'all do a great job. We appreciate every one of you. I had I put up a post yesterday, and while I was out cruising around, looking around at problems in the district, and somebody made a comment to it, and it was a really good comment, just to be honest with you. It's 7:30 in the morning, and my video was, as I was taking, was kind of dark to begin with, and about 30 minutes later, when the lights come on, somebody got up, they asked me why I was out there riding around in the snow doing that in the first place. Hadn't really thought much about that. It's like, that's a really good question. And the really good answer for that is so that you will know if you live in one of those areas and you have to get out, if there's a tree down across the road, you don't have to go that way, or you don't want to go that way. And so that's the reason that I ride around, like all of us. I'm not the only one that gets out. We all get out and look at our areas. We try to alert you to those problems before. There's lots of places that I saw where there was trees down, and I sent pictures to our road department. I also sent pictures to the state road department, or called them and talked to them, and Brad them say, hey, that one's already on the list, Tom, don't worry about it, we're getting that one. Or they say, okay, well, we'll add that one to the list. So, it's another way and another set of eyes for us to let folks know that in the road department, state and our own, that we've got problems. And it just helps those out. But I appreciate your comments. Also, we have, I think, Chris, I'm gonna hope that there's a picture going up showing the telephone number for the road department. Sometimes okay, Chris says there's no number going up for the road department. All right, that's all right. Sometimes snow trucks go down roads, and sometimes we've got some really tight turnaround places, and sometimes things happen. Sometimes you get into a fence, or you get into a gate, and you tear up this and you tear up that. They don't mean to do that. That's accident. Sometimes they get over the curb and run in your yard. That's all the cost of doing business. It's happened in the past. Got a phone call on that yesterday, and we fix those. And when you have those problems, please call the road department. Or if it's one of our districts, Larry's got 250 calls. I didn't get that many, but you feel free to call me anytime, and I'll relay messages for you. It helps if you can send an email to us, and it even helps even more if you can send a picture with it. So we have some idea when we get to the point where we can respond to those type of issues, what it is that we're dealing with when we get there. So we appreciate that as well. So if you need me, you can reach me at 200-9765. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. John?
I don't mean to continue on the snow issue, but I got a couple of calls yesterday, and some of them said, tell your drivers put the plow down. And I said, they were out early and made a round, and the snow fell hard and fast. We were getting over 2 inches of snow an hour. By the time those truck drivers make their complete round and get back, that snow had already fallen and covered the roads, and all you see is a few tracks down the road. They were out doing their job. I'm taking up for the road department here. People just didn't understand how fast it actually fell the other night. And
most people were asleep.
Well, most of them were. But I assure you, our drivers were out at, probably on the road at 2 o'clock, weren't they, Willie?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of people lost electric during this storm, and some of them are still out. Please check on your neighbors and make sure they're safe, and if they need anything, go help them. I went to a lady's house yesterday, and she was a widow living by herself. I was checking on her. Didn't realize she lost her husband back in the fall and winter. She's there by herself. She had a backup generator, but they hadn't got it started yesterday. While I was there, I helped her shovel her porch off where she wouldn't get out and fall. So get out and help your neighbors and do whatever you can. Took my chainsaw with me all day yesterday and cutting trees. I called the road department and asked Willie down there. I said, tell me some areas in Waco or Union City that needs trees cleaned up. I cut some on 4 Mile down. We got Forest Lane cleaned up down there. out toward Union City and toward College Hill, had a line across the road out there at College Hill. I didn't have anything to mark the line across the road, so I went to a farmer and borrowed a red bucket, feed bucket, set it in the middle of the road so people would know that there was a wire down or something to slow down and not hang in that electric wire. So get out and do whatever you can to help your neighbors, and just appreciate everybody being patient during this snowstorm. It will get better. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Roger?
Willie, I'm gonna call John and Larry to cut my trees from now on. It sounds like they're doing a pretty good job.
You call me, I'll be there.
No, everybody had road problems, either with the snow or trees. And even the state, they was running behind, and reasonably so because of the weather. I talked to Brandon yesterday, and they had 3 trees down on Tate's Creek at one time. So a lot of traffic was coming over to Jacks Creek. Made it kind of heavy for a while. And believe it or not, Willie got down to the ferry, and Captain Dave was really bragging on him about how he cleaned the roads off for us. And we got the ferry open, and the roads were still a little rough in places, but people were able to cross and get to work. So they was particular about that. We've been closed for so long because of the water, trying to open every day we can now. Other than that, I just want to thank Glenna and her whole department for what they do. I kind of bypass some of them at times, but I never walk in there and ask a question that I don't get the right answer, and I don't mean that I want to hear the right answer, good or bad. You know, I'm going to tell you like it is, and do a great job. Glenna's been here a little longer than I have, but I've supported her the whole time. It's never been a problem with. She's not going to tell you the straight of it, because she always has, and that's what we need in the finance department. That's what it's always been. That's all I got.
Thanks, Ross.
Tom, let me clarify one thing when I said I got all them calls. Now, all them calls wasn't just road, a lot of it was electric. And of course, I was working with RECC, so as of 6 o'clock or 6:30 last night, we had them all back on.
That's good.
Get overtime.
Yeah, I got overtime.
Thanks, guys.
I turned it in, I want the judge on.
Thanks, Judge. Yeah, I want to say I represent the Madison County Utilities District for now almost a decade, and all that time worked with Ms. Pennington, and I just wanted to say what a pleasure she's been to work with. Every encounter you have with her is always a joy to be around her, and what a lot of people maybe don't know about her is how insightful and how smart and tough businesswoman that she is. And so we'll definitely miss her presence on the board, and what a great lady. So I just wanted to echo what you all had said about Ms. Pennington and thank her for her service. Look forward to working with Mr. Hilton when he comes on board too. And the other thing I wanted to say is that last week we had the release party for the Blueprint for Safety, which is a comprehensive interagency approach to investigating and then prosecuting domestic violence. It's a big deal. It matters to this community in lots of different ways. We're the only community in Kentucky that's tackling this issue with this Blueprint for Safety, which is a national protocol that's been put in place in only 7 other communities, places like St. Paul and New Orleans and Memphis. And so here's Madison County following the lead of some of those. And I'm excited about what it means for our county. It'll make a real difference in the way people live here. I think it could create a legacy that we're all proud of. And it's largely due in part to the efforts and vision of Jennifer Lanehart at Hope's Wing. So we all owe her a debt, and just proud to be part of it.
Yep, good. Thanks, buddy. Kenny? You good?
I've said enough.
Yes, you have. Sheriff? You good?
Well, I just want to let the court know that on March the 2nd, we had one of our first female deputy be working the road that graduated from DOCJT. She'll be receiving probably about 12 weeks on the job training before she's out on her own. Philip Sturgill, he went in about a year ago, had some pains, and they did, I think, 4 bypass on his heart, and he just 2 weeks ago went back through it again. And I was surprised yesterday when I was coming up the steps to leave, he was coming down the steps to go to work from just having this bypass surgery again. So that's kind of shows the dedication on him. Yesterday was a busy day for all of our people, and we had a lot of calls. We did have calls for service where we transported some emergency medical staff across the county. We're looking at a busy summer, and we're looking forward to working with our fiscal court and sitting down with them and trying to go over a few things that I think is going to be necessary for the court and sheriff's department to try to make sure we're both on the right track with what we have going this summer.
Yep.
Other than that,
Thanks, Sheriff, appreciate it. Comments from the audience? All right, I need a motion to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So moved.
Second.
There's no discussion, call the roll.
Magistrate Morgan?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucket?
Yes.
Mr. Combs? Yes. Mr. Taylor?
Yes. Next court date will be Tuesday, March the 27th, 2018. That'll be in Richmond. Again, that'll be Tuesday, March 27th, 2018 in Richmond. I need a motion second to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bucket?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Bring that.
open it up.
Thank you.